How does a test engineer test a bar? Test case 1. A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have a bottle of beer.
Test case 2. A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have a cup of coffee.
Test case 3.
A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have 0.5 bottles of beer.
Test case 4.
A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have -1 bottles of beer.
Test case 5. A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have 2 to the power of 32 bottles of beer.
Test case 6.
A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have a bottle of goldfish.
Test case 7.
A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have a SDFQWER at 24DG and *at.
Test case 8.
A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have nothing.
Test case 9. A test engineer walks. Test case 10.
A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have 9 bottles of Knoll.
Test case 11.
A test engineer walks into a bar.
I'd like to have a bottle of beer. Drop table bar.
The test engineer is driven away due to his dangerous behavior. A customer walks into a bar.
Excuse me, do you have a restroom?
Why is this happening?
This story tells a real-world challenge for the software testing engineers. How to design effective tests to detect the potential failure in a software. Software testing is a process of finding test input values to check against a software. We call all possible values that the input parameters can have as the input domain. Even for a small program, the input domain can be infinite. What the test engineer was doing is to choose finite sets of values from the input domain to check if the program works as expected.
So how does the test engineer efficiently choose the input values? They divide the input domain into separate blocks according to the characteristics of the input values, and choose one value from each block as the test inputs. This partitioning process is called input space partitioning. The partitioned blocks must satisfy 2 properties, disjointness and completeness. Disjointness means the blocks must not overlap with each other. Completeness means the partition must cover the entire domain.
By applying the input space partitioning, test engineer can easily get started because it can be applied with no automation and very little training. And by partitioning blocks according to characteristics, it's also easy for test engineer to get more effective tests or reduce redundant tests. What's more, since it only focuses on the input values, input space partitioning can be equally applied at several levels of testing, including unit testing, integration testing, and system testing.
However, input space partitioning also has its constraints. Though it shows good performance at failure detection, for gaining confidence from successful tests, it performs no better than random sampling.
This is because in input space partitioning, the values within each block are assumed to be homogeneous, but in practice, the block may not be exactly homogeneous, and the test may succeed in one value but fail in another within the same block. Therefore, when applying input space partitioning, we need to pay more attention to the definition of the blocks.